Hello everyone! In today's video I was going to be continuing my Tears of the Kingdom playthrough series. In the last episode we got Yunobo, the Goron, which allows us to shoot his fireball ability at pretty much any enemy or structure we want to. In this episode, well, off camera I did some grinding, of course, getting more arrows and some weapons and stuff, and of course food. But in this episode I wanted to target and collect some of the mini villages that exist. So basically we have 4 of them to go to. This red one's pretty easy since we already have the shrine for it. Alright, now we're going to head to the red pin that I put here, which involves this broken wagon. Oh, we're also going to need a horse. Something I did right now that was off camera was getting my reward, which is the towing harness for pulling carts and stuff. You're gonna need it to do this side quest. To do it, you can just spend 3 nights at the stable where you pay, or you could register 3 horses, not including the ones you got in Breath of the Wild. Alright, now we have my horse's towing harness equipped, which we're gonna need for the side quest. Now we're gonna talk to these people right here. As you can tell by now, this side quest is to unlock one of the Great Fairies, which will allow us to upgrade our armor. They want us to put the wheels back on this cart, and then of course put our horse on there, so that way we can tow this thing. The player can only pull this cart so many times in the game, because after that they have it off limits. Alright, now they're inside the cart. If you turn too much to the side, they'll get scared and they'll put you back at the start. So basically you can't let your cart tip over. This is the one time in the game the player actually has passengers. Except for Cork Seeds. As you can see, we need to head here, and there's just some cutscene stuff that I'll be skipping, as usual. Alright, with all that done, I was able to get my armor upgraded. Now the Hylian head and trousers are all at level 1. Something you may have noticed when you're upgrading your armor is that now it costs rupees to upgrade it. If you're complaining about how much they charge the players in Breath of the Wild, you'll be really disappointed to know how much they charge you in this game to get each individual armor upgraded. The first upgrade costs 10 rupees, second one costs 50, the third one I think costs 100, and I think the fourth and final one costs 500 rupees. So in other words, you better get some rupees if you want to upgrade your armor. Anyways, that was one of the things I wanted to do in this episode. The next thing we can do is actually pretty easy. Alright, the next thing we need to do is head out to Tarrytown. If y'all don't know what Tarrytown is, it's this village the player built in Breath of the Wild, the first game. Alright. As you can see, if you teleport from the tower right here and jump out, you're going to fly to Tarrytown, which you'll recognize it by this big circle here. Or if you get the map, which I think the tower is like right around here somewhere. Or even teleporting from the dungeon and just jumping off can work as well. I'm basically just unlocking all the minor villages. Each of them has their own use, which I can actually see it from here. And that spotlight over there is where the tower is. If you look over there, there's a Lynel, which is actually a high-leveled Lynel. I'm running out of stamina. Ooh, there's an enemy camp here. I'll just avoid them. If you go right here, you can crouch down on the grass to not be seen. If you stand up, they might notice you, but that's okay. If you see one of them with a question mark, just crouch down in the tall grass. wondering why I'm not flying towards the town directly, it's because I want to get the shrine for it, which is right here. I'll just unlock this really quick. Alright, now we're going to fly down to the town. If you see an empty plot of land right here in that little tent, the player will be able to buy a home later, and that's where the home will go. But it costs 3,000 rupees, like in Breath of the Wild. And that's just for the 2 starting rooms, and of course the plot of land. After that, you'll have to pay individually for multiple rooms and stuff. Basically, this is Tarrytown, and if you played Breath of the Wild, you'll know what it is. And you'll notice that 2 of the houses you spent so hard collecting wood for are torn down. However, the places they put in front of the town houses are pretty good, so I'm kind of glad they ripped down those houses to build these things. This here is the Break Apart shop. If you remember me in another episode talking about this luminous stone talus hammer, and I said I could get the ore back, you talk to him and it'll only cost 20 rupees, but if you pay him 20 rupees, he'll break it down for you, and then you can add it to another weapon. And if you're wondering what this is the monster gallery. If you unlock the camera, later on you'll be able to take pictures of monsters and enemies and put them up here for display. This is the next minor town. Just make sure you have that shrine, because that's the whole point of coming here. These next few places, I could probably fly from here. Or if I fly from the Great Sky Island, I might be able to make it. I'll try the Great Sky Island. If you look over there, there's a green light coming out of the temple over there. If you go to the top of the temple, where the green light is, there's an NPC that has a side quest for you. However, you need the Zora armor in order to do it, which I actually do have, so that I could technically do it. You'll also need arrows and fire fruit, like a lot of it. Well, technically you only need like 3 or 4 pieces, but it's always good to have backup in case you miss your shot. Now, from here I'm going to fly to Kakariko Village. Which, if you see that red hole right there, that's the green pin right there, and all that ruins, that's where the village is. So it's actually a good thing I came through this way. Directly beneath it, if y'all see, there's a tower right there, so you could go unlock that tower. However, you will need to do something to get into it. From here, I'm just flying to this Sky Island since it's right above the village. If you don't have upgraded stamina like I do, stamina meals can work. Here's an incomplete shrine. I'm just going to unlock it so I can teleport back here. What you have to do here is follow the green line, and there's a crystal where the green line ends, and you have to bring it back over. However, I'll do that off camera. Now we're just going to fly down to Kakariko Village. The clouds tend to get in the way. As you can see, here's the village. First things first, you're going to want to get the shrine so you can just teleport back here. The village will come up in the main story on a later date. As you can see, we now have Kakariko Village unlocked. What you want to do now is teleport back to that shrine. Just to be clear, it's the shrine that you got when you were flying through the sky, not the one in the actual village. We're just going to try to head over there. As you can see, this activates the main thing right here. We can jump. As you can see, you don't need Tulin to do that jump. I could get the crystal and bring it back, however I have to get it across this little cliff right here. The pink pin's the one I'm heading for. Which I think you might be able to see it over there. That's where we're going next. If you don't have Tulin to do this, that's fine. You can do it with your regular paraglider. However, you might not get as far. If that's the case, you can just walk there. If you remember how we got there in original Breath of the Wild, we just took the road, which goes from there in that forest. You follow this down here, you go that way, you go down here, and then directly beneath me, there's a forest and the field over here. That little road right there in the field, that's where the fortress is. Then there's the forest down beneath this. It's like a cave forest, and then it takes you onto that road. I'm just letting you all know, just because I'm flying over it in this game. I'm not gonna fly anymore. I actually have 2 more paraglides because I didn't use my stamina completely because it's in the red still. As you can see, I was able to get pretty far. And that's the forest and fortress I was telling you about, so you literally just follow this road back to where I am right now. I thought I'd get a bit farther, but that's fine. The Goron, if you use him in tall grass, you can create an updraft and then continue to do it with Tulin's ability. So you can kind of combo them both and use it like that, but it only works with tall grass. We're almost there. There's this one bokoblin right here. The first time I was going to Hateno village, nearby I made this motorcycle out of all wood, and this bokoblin has fire fruit, so you can probably guess what he did. He threw one of those fire fruits and it burned down my cart. Which after it did do that, I came back and defeated him at a later time, just because I was running past him at the start of the game, because I didn't have that good of gear. And I had ran past him just because I didn't have as good as gear as I do now. Time to fly up and use Tulin's ability. I'm just using the hills right here for the shield surfing thing. As you can see, the entrance to the village is right there, which when the player gets there, they'll realize something different has changed. The village is entirely covered with mushrooms. As you can see, there's a bunch of mushroom decorations throughout the village, which is a whole side quest that involves this stuff. Now, if you're wondering where the shrine is, because there's no more well, at this rate you can probably see where the shrine is because of the green swirls. But also right there you can see the ice dragon. If you go up to the tech lab, you can actually wait there till 5:50 p.m. in the game, and then the dragon will be there, which then you can shoot it with an arrow. If it's not there, it might be because it's in the depths. Because if you remember those red holes, those chasms, there's one right here. They'll actually go through those chasms and into the depths. But now we're just going to unlock this part right here. Now that that's been unlocked, we're going to head to the yellow pin. We're pretty much going to do the exact same thing we did in Breath of the Wild, where we went up and made our own path. If you'll remember from the original series, we went up the mountain. However, I'm just climbing up the harder part of the mountain. If you remember, there's a little path there that leads you up here. And now I'm back on the path, which goes back and forth until it gets you to the way top. As you can see, there's a tree here. If you drop an apple in it, Satori from the Satori Mountain will appear and mark the locations of caves for the player. Here, as you can see, is a plane and a cart. We're going to be using them just so we can get around easier. You don't need any batteries or fans or anything. However, they do supply them for the player here. There's actually a steering stick. That'll be helpful. grab that steering stick. We'll be able to fly on out of here. The plane got itself stuck in the water. Just anywhere flat enough where you can send off the plane is what you need. Of course, in this case, it's not working. I'll do the old-fashioned, new-fashioned trick where you pull it out, you pull it back in, you hop on it, and then you rewind it. And then tap that. As you can see, the Goron Yunobo is now on top of it, which I can fire him out like a cannonball. If you run out of battery really quickly, don't worry, because your plane will still be able to fly without battery. It's just a matter of the fans not moving. If anything, you don't even need a steering stick or fans or even the cart on the bottom. You just need the plane. You step on which side you want it to turn. Like if I just let go of it, if I want to turn to the right, I go on the right side, left side, and so on and so forth. We're actually almost there at Laurelin Village. The enemies weren't in render distance, so I couldn't hit them with them. There, I got one. The shrine right there, that's the one for Laurelin Village. Which, if y'all remember, Laurelin Village is the one where we bought the shock arrows at. Although you may have noticed something different about Laurelin Village, and that it's been completely raided down. I'll just hop off, go to the shrine. If y'all look in the village, there are a bunch of monsters in there that have taken over. What you need to do is clear off every last monster, including that big one on the ship. For that ship, the ship monsters, if you shoot, like, let's say, to the right side of him, he'll go to his left side. But when I say shoot him, I mean shoot him with a bomb arrow, so the impact launches him to the side. Basically, you just want to push them all into the water. Oh, that's just if you want to do it right now. Although I'm not gonna right now. That completes all the villages. So, that seems like a good stopping point for today's video. In every village, for Tarrytown Village, if you want to, you can unlock and get 3,000 rupees, so that way you can buy your home. For Kakariko Village, we'll have to come back here later after we've defeated this fourth and final dungeon. And for Hateno Village, there's a whole quest line that you have to go to. It's like a huge quest line where you have to learn how to unlock Hateno cheese, and like this whole, basically it's just like this whole huge process. But the player unlocks a new food item, as I mentioned right now. For Laurelin Village, you'll need to take down that ship, all the crew members. There's even one inside of that well right there. I'm just kind of mapping them out for you all. Then you'll have to talk to the people in this tent right next to me, which then they'll tell you that they need help rebuilding the village. And then, other than that, if you want to, you could go to these other great fairy fountains. There's actually one right here, and do all the side quests. I think I'm going to do some of this stuff off camera. Well anyways, that's going to finish up this video, so please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Goodbye.